Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mr. Anchor. It's time for a serious message here. You know, I'm going to step away from the news for a little bit because the U.S. Ninth District Court came out and made the ruling, and it's treasonous. It's what it is. I could sit here and read you the exact laws that says that what Trump is doing is legal, but people they won't listen to that. This is letting politics and feelings get in the way of things. And it's a shame because, you know, people are breaking this down into race, religion, and all sorts of things. And the base principle of this is that it has nothing to do with that. You know, as an American, I fight for the right of everyone to survive. I fight for your right to live. Just as I expect the same out of everybody, I would expect the same out of my fellow countrymen. It's it goes against that principles and policies that we put in place to keep each other safe. And that's the thing that's really making me mad because it is legal. Section 8 U.S. Code 1182, which states whenever the president finds that the entry of any aliens or of any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interest of the United States, he may, by proclamation, and for such period as he shall deem necessary, suspend the entry of all aliens of any class of aliens as immigrants or non-immigrants, or impose on the entry of aliens any restrictions he may deem to be appropriate. And that's verbatim, which makes the ban legal because of this particular reason right here. The Obama administration sat there and said that these and recognized these 7 places as harboring terrorists. Okay, they're harboring terrorists, but yet we're going to let refugees in there, and we have physical proof. And this is why these 7 countries got this daggone classification, is because they have attacked us. And we're taking risk here, and it is an unnecessary risk, and it goes against the principle and core philosophy of fighting for each other's survival. We don't take risk in this country, especially at such a high cost. That's too high of a cost to gamble with. This isn't about anything else other than I don't want to see somebody else die. We have enough blood on our hands because we haven't been doing enough. Obviously, the vetting techniques that we have in place are not working. And unfortunately, since it's a religious thing, it's hard to tell the difference in between those that believe in the faith and those that want to take the extra step and become extremists. It's a very hard thing, and we need time to differentiate the difference in between them. So that way we're not letting in the wrong ones. That way when we guarantee that we can bring in refugees, we can protect them because we can protect ourselves. We can't help others if we fail to protect even our own. That's a sad truth. And if you can't face that truth, then I don't know what to tell you. Things break down into facts, and you got to face what is. People will say, well, I mean, right then and in here, I'm telling you how it's 100% legal, but people will scream, he's giving preference to the Christians. The Christians are being directly targeted. And guess what? By pulling in the Christians first from the refugee camps, it takes a target off of those refugee camps. We're saving lives because guess what? They can, with people of their own faith, they're more likely to let them live, but they're not as high a value of a target as a Christian is. It's hard to imagine that Christians are a targeted group and get killed left and right and are purposely seeked out to be beheaded. But they are. Over there they are. Because they're infidels. And the extremists want nothing more than to just eradicate it. You see, you're dealing with a maniacal kind of being. And when you're dealing with something that bad, that evil, You got to protect yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, because the price of blood on our hands is not a price that we want to pay. It's for your safety as well as my safety, as well as for everybody's safety. We need to find the ways to tell the difference in between those that just happen to believe in the faith and those who want to take it to an extremist form. It's legal, ladies and gentlemen, and I just proved how it is legal. I mean, and people sitting there saying, well, they're letting the Christians in. Well, what would have happened in World War II? We'd be considered monsters if we didn't try to help the Jews. Wasn't that preferential treatment? I mean, you want to consider that's the way you look at things? No, it's just, it's the way it is. We're going to try to help those that are targeted the most first. It's nothing more, nothing less, and then it'll also cut down on the attacks of the refugees. But that, that's something that people don't think about. It makes logical sense. It's protecting not only us, it's giving us the time to find the proper procedures and ways to vet, to get people in and tell the difference in between those that believe and those that have taken that extra step. And it's getting harder and harder. And when you have Prince Assad coming over from overseas sitting there saying, yes, he knows for a fact that the terrorist groups are going to blend people in with the refugees. I mean, he just came out and said that yesterday, and we're not paying attention to this. We're not taking it seriously. Because people want to involve their feelings in this and think like, oh God, we're persecuting some. No, we're not. We're trying to protect our own so that we can get a process in place so that we can help those in need. Because if we can't protect ourselves, guess what? We can't protect them. So we're defeating the purpose here. We gotta put aside the political bullshit and the feelings wrapped into this, because I could give two rat's ass about somebody's feelings about it. This is right. This boils down into right and wrong. We continue to just let people come through with the vetting techniques that we have when we know and have proof that they are recruiting, guess what? Our own people. They're recruiting people without background checks. Or without any backgrounds or ties and affiliations with them, to make it easier to move them in and out of places that they need to go. We're playing right into their little game. The buck's got to stop somewhere, and we got to start taking this threat seriously. And to see our courts go against what is right, there's no justice to be had in America. No justice at all. And that's a shame. Because I want to fight for your rights to survive. Shouldn't you do the same? We have our own people that are homeless, starving here in our own nation. And I'm not trying to sit here and play the poor woe is us card. I'm just saying, people that could really use the difference now. What about those people that get left behind? It's a shame. We got our own problems right now, and a lot of people need a lot of help. If these protesters would turn out and actually lend a helping hand to those in need here, we could actually improve this country and make it something worthwhile. But people rather go off their feelings and do as little as they can to say that they produced an effort. When it comes to actually putting it to the brass tacks of things, you find very few people that are rarely able to follow through. That's a shame. So I'm stepping away from this because I'm going to give the Supreme Court the right to make the decision in our judiciary system to be proven not an act of treason, but just an awakening saying that why are we letting our courts put political feelings into their perspectives? This is about right and wrong. We got to do what's right by our people. We got to protect our own so that we can protect others. If you don't get that principle, then I don't know what to say. If the Supreme Court fails to uphold what's right, then we have serious issues in this country more than just being pissed off at one another. Shoot. Can't talk right now, but being pissed off at one another. There we go. I can finally formulate it. Over each other's political differences and over each other's differences of petty bullshit such as race and sex and all that bullshit. Or just doing ourselves harm. I'm Mr. Anger. I'm done with this issue. I'm going to do some lighthearted episodes until the Supreme Court rules. If the Supreme Court does rule against this and goes towards the wrong way, it's time for us, true patriots, to stand up. The ones that believe that we should fight for the rights of everyone's survival. Enough blood on our hands has been spilled, and it's getting too much to bear. Who wants to be the person who stands in front of the next victim's family and explains the reason why we did nothing but stood idly by and let it happen? By all means, volunteer. Love to see that in the comments section. I'm Mr. Anger. Have a good one.